Welcome to The Real with Joseph Lamtman. I am Joseph Lamtman. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Real. Taking time out of your day to come watch this episode. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that as well. That's the best way you can support this channel and help me grow my content and grow this channel to where I'd like it to be. Everybody hit the like button for me on the way in on this video today. That also helps promote this video more in the algorithms, helps grow this channel more as well. Please share this content. I would really appreciate that. My guests would as well. If you would please share this episode with someone you know that maybe is interested in the topic we're talking about today. Please leave a comment below as well. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You can interact with myself and the guest on the panel and the live chat as well. Whatever we're talking about, just leave a comment there in the live chat. Pop in and say hello. We'll put it on the screen for you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to The Real with Joseph Lamtman. I am Joseph Lamtman. Hope you guys having a great Thursday evening. Welcome into The Real. If you're new here, like I said, please like, subscribe, and share it. Shout out to all the new subscribers. And yeah, let's get a like right in the lane here, but shout out again to all the new subscribers. And I hope you guys having a great week. Post Super Bowl Sunday. Obviously, the NBA is going to an all-star break here. I have a little bit of a break. The Cavs are on a roll, won 5 in a row. Go check out my latest video. I did a film breakdown of James Harden and why I think the Cavs might be the favorites in the East now, and his impact, which has been immediate. It's been very obvious, his impact. So go check that out. And yeah, we're coming back to talk some Browns football tonight. We took a little bit of a break from Browns football, myself and the guys, but just for a week, not a whole lot. But there's news still pouring out. A lot of rumors right now. We want to break it down. And obviously, a lot of talk this week has been, who's going to be the Browns starting quarterback in 2026? Will it be Shedeur Sanders, who a lot of people assume is going to be the starter? Will it be Deshaun Watson? There's been reports about him this week. Will they bring somebody like Malik Willis in, who we've talked about on this show? Because that's somebody they would look to bring, or Mac Jones or somebody like that. So we're going to get into it tonight. And we've heard, Todd Monken talk about this exact thing. Remember back at his press conference, he was asked about the quarterback, and here's what he had to say. You remember what Coach had to say back then about who will be QB1 in 2026?
Hi, Todd. Welcome back. Mary Kay Cabot, Cleveland.com, Cleveland Plain Dealer. Well, I guess I'll start right off the bat with the question probably everybody wants to know. Will you head into this offseason with Shedeur Sanders as your QB1? And if not, what is your approach to the whole quarterback situation as you move into your new job?
Well, I think like any position on the team, that's still to be determined. Am I excited about Shedeur? Am I excited about all the quarterbacks in the room? Am I excited to coach this football team? Absolutely. I can't wait for them to get back and for us to get started.
So that was Coach, at his press conference, and just said no, nobody's named the quarterback QB1 yet, not Shedeur, not anybody, but just said he's excited, and gave, watching that again, it was kind of a vague answer a little bit. Just he left the door open for anything to happen. So I'm really curious to see where this is going to go this offseason, because either can go either direction, and I don't think nobody's a presumptive starter in the building right now, and they can bring somebody in off the street like Malik Willis. So let's get more into this. Joining me now is the man, the myth, the legend. We've missed him on this show. We haven't seen him in a hot minute. He's coming back with TPF, the professional fan, Sir Michael Antonice. Mike, what's happening?
Hello. Yes, it's been quite busy, but it's been happening. I'm 30 now, officially 30.
Right. Yes, it was Mike's birthday on Super Bowl Sunday, so happy birthday again, brother. We love you. And
Love you, bro.
30. Isn't it crazy? We're talking about Malik Willis tonight, and like when we started this show almost 4 years ago, he was being drafted.
Right.
And
yeah,
like,
and we were all like, he's talented, but I don't know.
Yeah, and you were like a year older than I am now. Like, it's just crazy how much things have changed in 4 years. But Mike, I guess we'll start here. Just your reaction about we'll go by each quarterback here. We have 3 main ones, obviously, but just kind of what's been your initial reaction to see all those reports, and just kind of what do you think the temperature in the room is right now with the quarterback one? Where do you think they could go?
Yeah, I mean, I think Shedeur obviously is the leader in the clubhouse for multiple reasons. I think that's where the temperature is. Like the multiple reasons because one, you drafted him in the 5th round. Like the optics of it, like obviously he economically makes the team a lot of money, he got a big following, and if he works out, it's a great story. But also from like just a sports aspect, like he's a 5th round pick. So if he ends up working out for the next 3 seasons, well, I'll call it 2 seasons because next year, no matter what happens, the Watson contract hits. So next year or this upcoming season is going to be a little bit more difficult to kind of move money around. But call it 2 seasons, you'll be paying him a 5th round rookie salary if he ends up working out, and which can give you more flexibility in signing players. And then when you eventually sign him to a deal, helps the team in the long run. You can move money around that way. Also, I think, he's younger. Not by a lot with Malik Willis, but he is younger. So you'd have him for longer. I would guess he's the leader in the clubhouse as far as and he's already here. Watson, I think, obviously they invested a lot, but I think, teams like to say that fan opinion doesn't matter, but they do take that stuff in stride and they do listen. And I just don't think bringing Deshaun Watson back from the grave, if you will, and throwing him out there is gonna be the best look for the first season with a new head coach Todd Monk. And I don't know if that's how they want to play that per se.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's go to that one first. That's the first guy I want to talk about because I think the main 3 right now, Mike, is Deshaun Watson, Shador, and then Malik Willis seems to be the guy that they would bring as a free agent.
Yeah.
So let's go by report here. So let's go here. Todd Monken, quote, this is from Mary Kay Cabot. Todd Monken is, quote, intrigued by Deshaun Watson. He'll be given a chance in the 2026 quarterback battle. Once he began practicing in December, some in the organization felt, quote, he was the best quarterback on the field during that stretch, per Cabot. And there it is right there. You look to some as the most talented quarterback on the field, according to her. So your reaction to Deshaun Watson possibly, and he's going to be given a shot. In their eyes, he's the most talented guy in the room. He's a proven Pro Bowler. Right? At one point, he was a great player in the league. I expand more on Watson.
Yeah, man. I'm kind of out on that. His last good season was 6 years ago. That's a long time. I know quarterbacks generally last a little bit longer, but his style of play was kind of like Lamar's, except with a little bit better of an arm. I just don't know if I'd even want to go there. And for Todd's sake too, I mean, people are, even me who was kind of unhappy, was unhappy with the hire when we first made it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he wants to go into this season throwing Deshaun Watson out there. That's not going to look great. And also, man, I remember hearing the same story, like the year that he was awful, like, oh, Deshaun Watson's cooking. He looks great, this, that, and the other. They went down to West Virginia. He looks great, awesome. And, he lays an egg his first full season, and then he gets hurt. So I'm kind of against it. I mean, I get the investment. You made a huge investment, 3 first-round picks, paid him a ton of money, but I think they should just let it go at this point. You only got 1 year left.
Yeah, I mean, my thing on Deshaun Watson is is he the most talented guy in that room right now? Yes, but I don't know. So when we had Stub Mitchell on the show, you remember, Mike, you were moderating the chat that night. He went in about it, and I didn't bring it up first. Yeah. He just started talking about it. He said on his show multiple times, he believes that Deshaun Watson was not properly managed by Kevin Stefanski. And he was obviously on the staff and was there every day. And so, I think it just felt like Deshaun wasn't coached where he needed to be to get him out of that. I mean, because when he came back, when we brought him here, Mike, and, almost 4 years ago, I mean, that was off of 18-month hiatus almost. So, yeah, I think at least a year. So, he felt like Kevin did do a good enough job getting him back to where he needed to be. And I believe that too. I mean, I remember at that time I would bitch about it on the show. I feel like he just wasn't doing a good enough job with him. You could just tell. And you and I would talk, and you remember what I would say about it. You could just see it from a mile away. And I think a lot of Deshaun too, a lot of his why he didn't pan out to what he wanted to be so far, I think, was because of mental reasons. I just think mentally booed by your home crowd and I know we've oh my gosh, we started the show, we had to go into all that stuff, the accusations, we get it. But whatever happened there, I don't know, but that's between him and God and those people, but those women. But I think he's still human though, in terms of like whatever happened. I mean, it's still he's getting booed by your home crowd and going through all that, and then being off a hiatus like that. I mean, that's hard to get back. I mean, even the great Michael Jordan, when he took an 18-month hiatus, when he came back, he had to get back to be the Air Jordan. Remember, they lost to the Magic that year, '95. To go back and get back in shape, get his mind back, and then they came back the next year and was one of the greatest seasons, probably the greatest team of all time, with 72-10. So, I think with Deshaun, my biggest thing with him is his health. I think mentally he's already hit a low. I don't know if it can get any lower than what he's already hit. He's a married man now, so I think maybe he has a little more stability in his life. Still a very flashy guy. I see some of his posts this offseason. He looks like a guy who made $230 million. I'm just not sure, like, how's his health going to be? He tore that Achilles twice. He re-tore it during the healing process. And then how's his body responding? He looks good in the work. I mean, he's throwing in shorts and t-shirt. I want to see how does he look with pass rush and in practice and pads. That's what I want to see. And then B too, does he have that drive anymore? I mean, I don't know. I mean, the guy made $230 million, and the last time he was we saw him, he was getting carted off the field, getting booed.
He's been on vacation for a long time.
Like, he was in the building when Todd Monken was here. He was overseas. I mean, where Shador was in the building, you know what I mean? And so, I think Todd Monken, sees it as like, man, maybe I could be the guy. And I think had Todd Monken got Deshaun Watson when Deshaun Watson was Watson, they would have been a perfect fit. Mobile quarterback, can make every throw. It would have been a match made in heaven with him because he likes that. He likes mobile guys. He likes guys who can make the throws, obviously. And him and Deshaun, I think, would have done well together. But Deshaun now, I don't know if it's the same Deshaun. I think they should give it a look. I mean, here, you're paying the guy $80 million next year. You might as well give it a look. So, I think I'm curious to see what it looks like. I mean, I think there's a chance Todd Monken could get him back to a serviceable form where he could play good and then maybe start building momentum and get back to being maybe really good. I think it's there. I mean, he didn't forget how to play the game. He knows how to play the game. He still has his talent. It's just, to me, there's a mental and the physical still there, and the drive is what I would want to know. Like I said, you're on. Like you just said, you haven't played in basically 6 years. I mean, let's be honest. He hadn't played at his highest level in 6 years. At 23, I feel like he was starting to stack some games to get back to that. That Cardinals game and that Ravens game, he was great. And then he obviously got hurt. He was out for the year. So it's like he never was able to get it going. I mean, it was like a tire stuck in mud or a car stuck in snow. It could never get traction. That's what he was. I mean, he just stayed stuck and just never got better.
Yeah.
But I do think he'll try. And I think in terms of when I say I think Monken will try to see what he can get out of him. I think they want to see if they can make it work. And I think there is a slim shot it could work. Like, I think something could still be there. I know, Stump, when he was on the show, he believes that Deshaun can go somewhere else and definitely get back to being a good quarterback again. I know a lot of people have said that in the league, and just former players, guys that know that situation and know him, they think he can. So, I mean, who knows? You never know. It would be the most Cleveland thing ever, though. I can tell you that, Mike.
What, though, that the last year of his contract, he ends up being great again?
Yeah, just took a different coach to come in here and get it out of him. So you never know. But we'll give a percentage chance on this. Percentage chance of Deshaun Watson's the starter week 1.
15%.
I'm going to say 20.
Okay.
For now. I'm going to say 20 for now. We'll readdress this in maybe like a month. I'll say 20. But we're around the same ballpark. Moving on to the next quarterback.
Unlikely, but a chance.
Yeah, unlikely, but a chance. Moving on to the next guy. We'll say Malik for last. Let's go to Shador Sanders now, Mike. Obviously, Shador Sanders. was here last year. Played 7-8 games the second half of the season. I thought showed some really good things. I thought showed some areas where he still needs to really grow. He looked like a rookie, right? He was in a situation where it was unique. He was drafted with another quarterback ahead of him. He had to wait until the end of the year. He got out there. Like I said, though, he had some games where he made some great plays. He had some games where you're like, okay, this guy needs some growth. He needs to really grow. I think Shador really benefited from last year. I would hope in terms of just taking the whole year to really develop and integrate himself in the NFL game. I feel like in college, he didn't really, in my opinion, didn't seem like he got the development that he should have got.
Right.
And I say that not because of his dad or anything. I just think, and obviously, his dad was a defensive guy. But, I think you look at what Colorado was the year after he left with, and yeah, Pat Shermer was an NFL guy, but they just weren't very functional last year. It wasn't very good. And I looked at that situation since after he left, I'm like, man, he was in a situation where he didn't really, I think he was a little behind in some areas. That's not his fault. I think he wasn't properly developed at Colorado. And so I think that was a lot of it when he got to the NFL. I think he just needed to really had to take a time to sit, learn, and which he did. And he did. I think he had a good attitude about it. I thought when he got out there, he went for it. And he tried to win games. That's what I liked about the kid. He tried to go out there and win games. He was trying to make stuff happen. Sometimes he forced the ball down the field, but I didn't have a problem with it because at that point, the season was already in the shit. We all knew we weren't going to playoffs, but which wasn't the goal. But I just liked he was trying his will to try to win. I liked he was confident, and that's something the teammates said about him. Batonio said that about him. His confidence was very we said that when he drafted him, this kid, one thing you can't take away from his confidence. I think that's his best attribute is his confidence, his leadership. He tries to go out there and lead with his swagger and just his presence. Right. And so, I think Todd Monken definitely will get more out of Shador than the last staff would because I just think he's a better offensive coach. I think he's a better quarterback developer. And Baltimore, Mike, we saw the interaction. They were looking into drafting him last year, but he told him they didn't want to take. He didn't want to sit. He wanted to get on the field as quick as he could. And I think Shador's definitely an option, Mike. I think, and now they're going to learn more about him, and I'm sure they've had a conversation with him. He's been in the building. We saw that interaction. I think that's definitely the guy, though. I think what Andrew Berry said, and then obviously I got this right here from Myles Garrett when he said recently about Shador Sanders. Let's take a look at what Myles had to say this week.
Speaking of your team, 4 quarterbacks, challenges. Do y'all have the guy? Is Shador the guy?
That's what we're looking at as a guy. We're going to give him a shot to prove that he's the guy. So we're not going to give anyone that title until they go out there and earn it. And he was the last person to be on the field, and he showed some flashes. So we're going to give him an opportunity to show what we can really do, uncork the ball.
Yeah, you paying another guy $46 million. Is he going to get a shot?
I feel like everyone on the roster is going to get a shot. Now, he was the last guy on the field, so he's obviously going to get first service. And, Deshaun, whoever else on the roster, they're going to get a real look.
What do you think separates you?
Well, kind of saying a lot of stuff we were already saying, Mike, when you hear him. But I thought the big thing that stood out to me there, though, Mike, from Myles was how he answered. He initially said, we're presuming he's going to be the guy. I think they're hoping he's going to be the guy. And I think the organization's hoping he's the guy. Now, how they figure that out between now and free agency, I don't know. But your thoughts on Shador Sanders, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, Shador Sanders is who I think is going to be the de facto starter, personally. I don't think I keep seeing stuff. And not to get into, because I know we're going to talk about Malik Willis in a second, but the money, I don't know how much that'll make sense with the other needs the Browns are probably going to address with offense. So Shador Sanders makes the most sense. I mean, he's the youngest option. You drafted him. You have contractual control for 3 years over 1. And if he can develop into a guy and you actually get some weapons around him, that's the other thing too. I really want to see Shador with a functioning offense, or at least a better functioning offense. You got some pillar pieces. You got Judkins. You got Fannin. You got Sampson. And you draft a wide receiver, sign a wide receiver, fix the O-line a little bit, and see what the kid has. Because, like you said, he showed some flashes. And like Miles said, he showed some flashes. You know, he constantly had pressure in his face and, not a great wide receiver core. And he still was – he looked at like an NFL quarterback. He just looked like he was on a bad team. This is my choice for starter. I legit think this is the starter for the Cleveland Browns next season.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Big Bell 7866. He said Shador's a starter, like it or not. I think I agree with some of your points. I mean, like I said, like Miles said, he showed some flashes, right? I just don't know if that's enough for them to not want to bring more competition in the room, right? I think that's where a guy on the outside they want to bring him in. I think Deshaun, it's more of what we talked about earlier. It's more mental and physical. I think they just want to see if they can get something out of him. But I think with Shador, I mean, here's the thing. Like you said, he's under contract. He's under contractual agreement for next year and the years after. He's on a cheap deal. Ideally, you would hope he's the guy because of the money. You got him from 5th round money, and you can build out the rest of the roster around him and hope he could just go out there and be the quarterback that you want him to be. So, and from an ownership standpoint, he generates a lot of revenue, which he's generated a shit ton of revenue since he's been here. So I'm sure Haslam likes that. It's not somebody you want to just, move on from either. But here's the thing though, Mike, I just wonder too, like, you mentioned earlier about, Todd Monken, with Deshaun Watson, that's somebody he wants to get off to a start with. Ideally, maybe not. Well, compared to the last time we saw him, but even with like Shador, though, like if he gets out there with Shador's not the guy. They're gonna take some heat from people. I know that. So it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know what I mean?
Right, and I get that. I think it's a little different scenarios with why you want one to work as opposed to a different one. But
I get it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But I mean, you're gonna catch heat, but at the end of the day, like that's why they gotta really focus in on offense in the off season. Is you got to take every excuse away. You know what I mean? You fired your head coach. You hired a different one who's had success multiple different places in the NFL and college. And hopefully here, if the Browns spend major money on the offense in the offseason, what if they sign a Rasheed Walker, they sign a Tyler Linderbaum, they sign a Romeo Dobbs or, a vet wide receiver or someone young, Alec Pierce, that has shown that they can be a functional wide receiver in the NFL. And then you draft another tackle, you draft a wide receiver. Like if they
and Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah. If they put a lot of resources into offense this offseason, which I
sounds like they're going to do.
It sounds like they're going to do. If the GM said that, and he was very candid about it, significant. I think the exact words he used were significant investment in the offense this offseason. And Shador still doesn't look like a starter. I mean, at the very least, you're not going to have as much of an excuse. Like, take away the excuses, let him get better players around him, and see if he succeeds. And if he succeeds, great. And if not, you gave him the shot.
Yeah. One second. Dan's in the house. Good to see you, Dan. He said when the coach and GM make it very clear they're willing to look outside the building for quarterback after spending $50 million a year on one and drafting 2 last year, that should tell you everything you need to know. The league isn't long for guys with 18-point QBR. He said, enter Geno Smith.
No.
I don't. Yeah. What do you think about Geno Smith?
I think no.
That's it.
Yeah.
He said that. Yeah. I mean, here I do agree with this point of. I mean, the fact that they're looking, to bring in more guys after spending 2 picks last year, and they got a guy in there for $80 million. Bring back. I mean, the fact there's still rumors that they're going to look outside the building, I think tells you that they're not comfortable with the room they have. So, Do I think Geno Smith will be brought in? No, I don't think Geno's gonna be brought in. I don't think that they'll even entertain that at all. But he said all we need is an entire offensive line, a new receiving corps. It should be a great environment for any quarterback to succeed. Yeah, I mean, with the receivers and quarterback, or the receivers and line room, Mike. I mean, one thing. Here's why I do like where we're off to a good start at for a quarterback is the staff. I do like the staff we're putting together here. It's a very veteran staff, a proven staff from a good organization, a winner, right? I think the staff that he's built out has been very good. So that's the most important step to me. Is your staff.
Yeah.
You have to have a good staff. What makes a great environment, great culture, great head coach is the staff he surrounds himself with. So they're off to a good start there. They're great start there. So now, right, you got to build out the offensive line. Didn't draft any offensive lineman last year. I think it was a great draft, but they still missed there. They should have took some linemen, I think. So you're looking at the linemen they're bringing back, Mike. I mean, Luke Whippler, can he stay healthy? That's the thing. When he's healthy, I think he's been solid. At least in the preseason, he had a really good preseason, but then he got thrown out there in the middle of the season in a weird situation with different quarterbacks. Then he got hurt. So if they could bring in Tyler Linderbaum, Mike, I think a proven center, obviously is his O-line coaches here, which I think is going to be a intriguing thing for him. They can probably overpay him a little bit. That's a good start. You solidify the middle, and I played center, so I understand that. You put him in the middle, right? Then you go out there, you draft a tackle. I think they're going to have to probably get a little creative in a trade or something, or the free agency. They bring another. I don't know what the free agents are with tackles and guards.
Rasheed Walker from the Packers is available. He was their left tackle, pretty good.
Yeah, I think they got to bring. You can't just bring all rookie offensive linemen. That's not going to work. This isn't college. So
I draft one tackle and one guard.
That's what I would do.
But
I would draft one tackle, one guard. I'm bringing back DeJuan. I'm bringing back Whippler. I think you still have Zach Zinner contraction or agreement. Who knows how he looks with a different. I mean, here's the thing about Zach Zinner. He's been hurt, but Zach Zinner at Michigan was a very good offensive lineman before he got hurt that year. He was projected to be a pretty good high round pick. And you just brought in one of the best offensive line coaches in the league, at George Warhop. What can George Warhop get out of any of these guys? A lot. I mean, George Warhop was known when he was here back in from 09 to 13. He got guys like Alex Mack, you know what I mean? But guys that were in the 4th, 5th, 6th round or more, later, he got a lot of those guys and turned them into somebodies and some good players, good starters.
Andrew Voorhees for the Ravens is pretty decent. He was a 7th round pick.
Right. So when you have a guy as an offensive line coach who's a developer like that, that takes a ton of pressure off you, and it gives you a lot of flexibility. I mean, and also, like each week you're going to have people out there. Like when Bill Callahan was here, it didn't matter who was out there playing. They were prepared. They were ready to go. You know what I mean? They were developed properly. A lot of people talk about how the quarterback plays declined. I actually heard Richie Incognito the other day on a show. He was on Fearless, and he talked about that. You look at offensive line play even nowadays, it's declined. Like the development's just not where it needs to be. When you watch the Patriots in the Super Bowl, a guy like Will Campbell, he just was not prepared for that moment. He didn't know how to step back to his spots. He was not quick enough to get back there. He had to turn and try to recover a lot. And so you look at the teams like the Eagles and all that, they never have fallouts at offensive line because they have a great development there. And that's key. So when you have a George Warhop there, you can bring in guys in the 4th, 5th round, and you might get some. You might turn them into starters because you have somebody there that will make a plan for them and identify what their their strengths and their weaknesses are, and so that'll give them flexibility. But again, I think you bring in, like you said, draft one tackle, one guard. You need to get a couple of free agents in here. Linderbaum would be my top one, and then I would bring in probably that guy you brought up, or another tackle who's solid. You got DeJuan coming back, and DeJuan get back to his form as rookie year. So you're not terribly. I mean, you could build something there. It doesn't take. It's going to take about a year or two to get it back where it needs to be, but you're off to a good start with the coach you hired. And then with receiver, Mike, I don't know, the 6th pick, I'm thinking, I don't think Francis Moyaga is going to be there. So with the 6th pick, Mike, I'm probably going to lean either a Mekhi Lemon, or if I know there's rumors about Caleb Downs, which I get it, they need offense, but I could see why they get tempted there. But I mean, I don't.
Receiver. I would talk myself into that pick really quick. Like, even if it, like, I'd be upset for like a second. I'd be like, oh, we really need, and then I'd be like, it's Caleb Downs.
I mean,
I
he's
get it.
top 5 player in this draft, arguably. So I would get it. Like, I thought Sean Kane sits up recently. That was kind of a good point. Like, you don't, you want to draft off your need, but when you have a top 10 pick, you're getting a high level player for a discount for
Yeah.
4 years. So you
All I
kinda wanna
know is
think-
they'd have
and they-
to
and they-
spend major
and-
money in free agency if they want to do that. They'd better
that's-
bring in Romeo
right.
Dobbs. They better bring
Which they
in.
might do, because I'll tell you this: if you want to turn something around quicker, you want to bring more proven in than unproven, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to. You can't build everything out through the draft only and just bring
Right.
a couple mediocre free agents. That's not going to turn
And-
things around.
And
right away.
this year, there are a good amount of young wide receivers. Like, there's no like stars per se, but like you have a lot of
And you
good
get
young
guys that can
receivers that can produce. Like Alec Pierce, he's 25.
Alec Pierce, and I know Alec Pierce. He played with Debo, who was on the show in Cincinnati. He played with Trey. They were teammates. Alec Pierce, great guy in the locker room, the good worker, but he produces.
Yeah, same
Everybody's
thing with
young.
Romeo Dobbs.
Romeo Dobbs produced. Utah State produced with Jordan Love. He's produced in the NFL. So that's what they need. They need lunch pail guys. They need guys that can go out there and just get the job done. We don't need, we could. I think you draft that guy in the draft. You could find that in the first, second round of the draft. They got 2 first-round picks and basically a high second. You could find that star receiver in that span because there's some good ones. So, yeah, I like that game. I mean, if they went Caleb Downs, I wouldn't be mad at that. I mean, they've been this franchise looking for a safety like that, a ball hawk for the last 15 years. And honestly, the last piece this defense needs is that. So, I don't know. But percentage on Shador being a starter week 1, Mike.
Honestly, I'm gonna say like 75%. Like, I'm pretty confident.
Okay. I said 20 for Deshaun. You said 15. With Shador, I'm gonna say 35%.
All right.
35%. Let's see here. Dan says probably should have drafted a few last year instead of Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd. Yeah. Cool. We could have took the safety last year and went to the Falcons that played well.
No, Watts, yeah.
Yeah.
That's who I wanted on the
wanted.
draft.
Yeah, that's what we wanted. Give me a percentage chance you believe Todd Monken is the Browns head coach when the new stadium is open, Mike.
I have no idea. Haven't even seen him be a head coach once. So I'll let you know. I'll give you that percentage chance after this upcoming season. We just haven't seen him as a head coach. Like, I just don't know. Like, I don't know how he drafts.
Though, what would you put it at?
I guess 50%. I mean, it's a coin flip right now.
All right. Let's see. Moving on now to the last segment here. The last quarterback, Mike. Malik Willis. The Browns and Dolphins have shown quote the most interest in free agent Malik Willis per Jason Lockenford, national reporter for CBS. A similar deal in structure to what Justin Fields signed this offseason in New York. 2 years, $40 million was cited as a comparison for what a deal could look like. And Mike, we've seen a lot of Malik Willis smoke around the Browns for the last month and a half, and I think it's real. I think there's definitely something there. Malik Willis, he obviously was drafted by the Titans, just didn't work out there, but he went to the Packers and sat behind there and developed. And when he got out there in the field this year, he showed some really good things. And what intrigues me about him is he's always had the talent. He's always had a big arm, a cannon of an arm. He's mobile. He's a physical guy. He could shed tackles, which he showed in the Packers games. You watch his highlights. He was shedding tackles, extending plays, could sit in the pocket and deliver the ball down the field. Has a big arm, could throw. He can make all the throws. I mean, his arm talent coming out in that draft, that was our first draft we covered. His arm talent was nobody was on his level in that, and that wasn't a great draft, but he was a great arm talent. That's what really stood out about him. Everybody said, man, if this guy could develop, maybe he could be something. And so I think with him too, I think you look at the quarterback position nowadays, these guys come out of college, a lot of them are kind of behind. They're not developed like they used to be. And I think fit matters. I mean, look at what Sam Darnold just did the last 2 years. I mean, he went and sat in San Francisco in a good organization, played well when he got his, the games he went out there. He played pretty well, got his chance in Minnesota, balled out, then he just won a Super Bowl in Seattle. So,
Right.
and I think you're going to see more of those guys down the road. I think that's going to be more of a common thing nowadays. You look at Baker Mayfield. He went to Tampa Bay, and then he actually looked like a solid quarterback in the NFL. Now he's starting to kind of slide back a little bit. We'll see how he does next year, but I think he can recover easily. But, I think you're going to see more of these guys. Bryce Young was the guy everybody gave up on. Granted, he was only a rookie, but just coaching matters. And fit matters, and development matters, especially at that position more than any of them. So I think if one guy could do it, it's him. He has the talent to do it. He's sat and has been developed. I think with what Monken pointed out, what he looks for in a quarterback, I think he has a lot of those attributes. He's mobile, big arm, can extend plays. He's a great dude off the field. We know that. I know he was at Liberty, which shout out to Liberty. I have connections to Liberty. So, I was a fan of his in college as well. He's a great dude. He's a hell of a leader. I think he'll have that, those, qualities that you want, which everything Monken pointed out. And Stump Mitchell, we had Coach Mitchell on. He talked about Malik Willis too. And remember what Stump had to say about Malik Willis. If he can build. Oh, never mind, Mike. Wrong timestamp. Sometimes even Michael Jordan missed a free throw here and there, Mike. Here we go.
How that goes. But
so you wouldn't bring another quarterback then, like through the draft, or like a Malik Willis, let's say.
Yeah. Oh shit. If you can get Malik Willis. Now, Malik, if you get Malik Willis, Malik is probably number one.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If Rand Carthon had kept Malik Willis instead of Will Levis, Rand would still be in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't have lost his job. Malik can play. He went to Green Bay and did a hell of a job.
Yeah, and when he got out there, that development showed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, no, you bring Malik Willis in there, Malik might beat Deshaun and Shador out. I don't think it'd even be close. It might be with Deshaun, but not with Shador.
So that was Stump's take on that, Mike, back then, almost a month ago. And I think a lot of what we said there is right. Tennessee, a lot of these organizations now, they give up on guys too soon.
Yeah.
They're shitty organizations. You didn't do a good enough job of getting him prepared and developing him and surrounding him with support, not just on the field, but off the field. And then they move off of guys quick. And then Will Levis was an absolute disaster for them. And here they are again. Now and you look at who they drafted last year from Miami. What's his name? Slipping my mind. Number 1 overall pick.
Cam Ward.
Cam Ward, who showed some flashes last year, but it doesn't seem like they're developed. At Tennessee, I don't think Tennessee, Mike, to this point, does not look like a good developing organization when it comes to quarterback. So, and then the Browns historically haven't been either, although I do like the guy they just brought in. I think he's a little more proven than the previous coach we brought in when it comes to developing quarterbacks. So I think I like Malik Willis, Mike. And honestly, I think I would give him the highest percentage chance to be the starter week 1 right now. I think,
really?
Yeah, I think just like what Dan said earlier. The fact you had Shador in the building, but the fact that this is even coming out, this report, we've seen a lot of this smoke, and Mary Kay said it as well. Now local reporters have said it. You're paying a guy that much money next year, coming back in Watson. You have a guy in the building, Shador Sanders, on a 5th-round deal. And the fact that you're still looking for another guy, and you got a new coach in the building now who wasn't here with either of those transactions when you made them in the past, with Watson 4 years ago and then Shador last year, and Dylan Gabriel, want to include him. I just think they're going to come in and want to get off to a fresh start. And I think he's going to want to bring his own guy. And I think that might be somebody he looks for, because I think that's a coach like him. That's what they're looking for. Okay, this guy's sat. He was given up on by his first organization. It was a shit organization in terms of developing quarterbacks, or not great. He went and sat in Green Bay in that system for a little bit. Played well when he got out there, just like Sam Darnold. We can bring him into our system if we, and if we develop our line and our receivers up to where we want them to be, which I think they're going to put 80% of the resources into that this offseason. And they trust their staff that he brought in. I think that's a guy he would look to. I really do. I think that's the route they may choose to go. Now, I think I'll be honest. If I put my percentages, like him and Shador would be like almost neck and neck. Like I think it's going to come down to him and Shador. All
Yeah.
two could stall with Malik is where does the money go? You know what I mean? How much they have to pay him? How aggressive
Exactly.
the Dolphins get? I think the Browns though are gonna find a way to make it happen if that's what they truly want to do. Your thoughts on Malik Willis?
I mean, my biggest thing is like what you kind of just referenced is barrier to entry. You know, him and Deshaun both share Dave Mulligata as a agent. I don't know if his agent would want to push one or the other out of a starting position, because only one of them can win. So that's one thing. That's one strike why I don't think it might happen. And then another strike is just the money. When they have to spend good money on offensive line and receivers, especially if they even want to entertain taking a defensive player in the first or second round, like they have to allocate what available funds they have elsewhere. Strike two. And other than that, I don't even know if I have a strike three. Just like the barrier to entry just seems like too much. I think they're going to allocate the resources elsewhere for long-term solutions, and they're going to give Shador a chance. And like, maybe they draft maybe they draft another quarterback, or maybe they just let it ride with Shador. And if he doesn't work out, you're going to have a high pick next year in a better, much better and bigger quarterback draft class. Yeah, I just, the math just doesn't math with it. I think he has incredible talent. Like you said, a great guy, developed well. I think he could very well be like a possible long-term solution for a team, but I just don't think it's going to make sense for the Browns, at least at this stage, personally. Which is why
I think that's where they're looking. I really do. I don't think they're. I think they want to see what they can get out of what's in the building, but I don't think that's their main priority. I don't think that's what they truly want. I honestly, I know you brought the Mugaleta thing with Deshaun. I'll be honest with you, Mike. I don't think Deshaun really cares if he's here or not.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't there.
I don't even know if the dude wants to play football anymore, if I'm being honest.
Not. Maybe not. I just don't. I think right now he's just being a good soldier. Out there, he's practicing today with his Browns helmet on and just do what he needs to do. But I don't really think he really cares if I think that ship might have sailed. I mean, I think Monken's going to see what he can get out of him, and maybe he could. But I just don't think Deshaun, just based on his actions I've seen since we've hired Monken, I just don't see. Doesn't seem like a guy who I don't know if he's into it anymore. And I'm saying in playing football, I don't know, but playing in Cleveland, I just don't see it. Shador, again, I think Shador might be the most likely right now because he's on the roster. May make the most sense. I just think the fact that they're even looking outside the box, like these reports and stuff, they're looking for another person. I just tells me I think they want more competition in that room, and I think Todd Monken wants somebody he can have as a plan B and have his own guy. So, he's going to inherit he's going to inherit what he came into. If that didn't work, he has somebody else he can, lean on. And I think he just kind of wants his own guy. So maybe Shador's that guy. I mean, again, they did almost draft him, last year, but he may view Malik a little differently than, I don't know. He didn't have that chance last year. So I think it's a good chance they look to bring him in. I think there's been a lot of smoke around those Malik and the Browns, and I get the agent thing, but I don't think that would factor into this. I think, your job as the agent to get your quarterback, get your quarterback to the best situation. And if the Browns brought him in, Mike, and paid him that kind of money, they're pretty much signaling he's a starter. So that's just how I view that.
Right. Those are good points. I don't know. I think they're going to look into outside options. I don't think any of it's going to come to fruition when you can spend that money on like paying a top end offensive lineman like a Rasheed Walker, like a Tyler Linderbaum, and then you can kind of fill out because Romeo Doubs will probably get like a $15 million a year deal. Alec Pierce will probably get something kind of similar. And then you can probably afford one major contract that pays close to $20 million with where the Browns are at. And I'd much prefer them to give that to a Linderbaum and give that to a Rasheed Walker, and then, ride it out with what you have in the room. And if it doesn't work out, draft a quarterback next year. That's just my opinion, but I do think Malik Willis has the possibility of being a long-term solution and starter. I just don't know if it makes sense for the Browns right now with where the needs are, personally.
I get it. Jeffrey is in the house. He said Shador Sanders needs competition. He showed flashes, but that's it. And Kyler Murray is a guy I got my odds on as he fits what Todd Monken likes to do. We really don't need a safety there. Ronnie Hickman had the second most tackles on the team. If we drop the safety, that'll be a waste to pick, my opinion. Well, I think Ronnie and Delpit are kind of similar, Mike, at the strong safety, move him down the box. We need a guy who's a ball hawk who can cover basically 1/3 of the field. A real true free safety. We do not. I don't think we have that on the roster.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And then you have to have that in that. They need that in that system. You needed the interior, which they were able to cover that. But you got to have a safety too. A guy that you can lead back there, can cover guys one-on-one and coverage and man. Like you got to be able to have that guy. We haven't had that guy in 15 years. I've been looking for him for my whole lifetime. We haven't had him. This might be a hot take, but I'd rather have Kyler Murray than Malik Willis because Malik Willis has played less games than Shador Sanders. What's your thoughts on that, Mike, with Kyler Murray?
Hot take too. I mean, if it's for 1 year as a stopgap solution, if Shador's not the guy, I mean, you could do worse than Kyler Murray. You could do a lot worse than Kyler Murray. I mean, he's not like what he was advertised at coming out of college, obviously, and he's seen decent success in the NFL. He's part of some pretty rough teams on the Cardinals, but I don't think he's a long-term solution by any means, but like he's a spot starter. Last year he would have been the best quarterback in that room. I mean, I don't hate it if they're just looking to bring in like a veteran, but again, if they're looking for like long-term solutions, which I think is what the Browns are leaning towards now, Malik Willis would make more sense to me if they're trying to solve the quarterback situation in free agency and take a shot. I don't see Kyler Murray as a long-term solution.
If I'm trying to build a culture and establishing something as a coach, that's not the guy I'd bring in.
Yeah.
Very talented, but some of the stuff you hear behind the scenes and what Cliff Kingsbury I've heard has told people when he left there, I'm good. I'm not paying that guy that money, especially in the AFC North. He's already undersized as it is. Great talent, but he can't even work at a dome in Arizona. I'm good. I don't think that's a guy they've looked towards. Not especially when you're trying to jumpstart a culture and you're establishing your program. I don't think that's a guy he would look to. Personally, that's just me. I don't think the sample size is too small for Malik Willis.
That's a valid point and concern.
Or excuse me, I don't think so. The sample size is too small for Malik Willis. I'm sorry, I mispronounced that. $40 million for him is way too much. I'm telling you, Kyler Murray, he's only making $24 million. He fits what Todd Monken wants to do. Anthony Richardson, we can give up a seventh for him, most likely. He's young. AR5, I'm out on that.
So here are my thoughts on Anthony Richardson. I think the Colts
very athletic, talented guy, but he's not an NFL quarterback.
I think I will say I think the Colts mishandled it, but I do think Shane Steichen is a very good coach. And if he couldn't make it work or figure it out with him, and him having Jalen Hurts in the past and when he was with the Eagles and being around that kind of quarterback and not being able to make it work with Anthony Richardson does give me some pause. Even for a seventh, like I just think that was a miss. Some of those quarterbacks are just going to be misses. I think Anthony Richardson had alien traits, but I think that was a miss. Yeah,
it was a big miss. I didn't like it at the time. He was an athlete playing quarterback, but he's not a quarterback who's an athlete. There's a difference. And I think he's very injury prone, unfortunately. And I like he's a hell of an athlete. And, here he got picked out. Kudos to him. But I just don't think he's an NFL quarterback. And I don't think that's to me, that's like what I hear people say about Deshaun Watson being a project. I think that's kind of similar. Like health project, you know what I mean? Big risk. So I just don't see it. Mike Evans, he's a sleeper receiver because him and Todd Monken have worked together before. I have seen the Mike Evans smoke, Jeffrey. I'll be honest with you. I like Mike Evans. I love Mike Evans, a player. And if you want to bring in a proven, obviously stable guy in that room, he's definitely it. I think he's had 1,000 yards every year in his career. I don't know if this year he did because he was injured,
Nope.
but that was because of injury. But every time he's been available and healthy, he produces. There's no doubt about that. So, Mike Evans, Mike.
I mean, I'd be okay with that. I
don't have a problem with it. I think they need a vet and a proven winner in there just to get some stability in that room. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
For
I'm fine with
a
it.
reasonable deal.
Yeah, I think you could get him on a cheap 2-year deal. I do, like I said, think the Browns are going to be looking for more long-term solutions. So I don't know if they go that route. Even Andrew Berry's like, we're not going to bring in a bunch of 30-year-old plus guys into the room. Mike Evans just turned 33. I mean, maybe a 1-year deal as like a culture builder kind of thing, but like that's a strong, like, will it happen? Strong, maybe, I guess.
Yeah, fit. The difference between him and the last two guys, Anthony Richardson and Kyler Murray, is he's actually a winner and he's proven. He's done it. Mike Evans could be some people think he'd be a Hall of Famer one day. Like this isn't even, you know what I mean? Like, so that's a different name you're bringing up with Mike Evans. I think that's somebody who's proven and he's, has won, and I think still probably has a couple years left in him where he could produce. So if he's healthy, let's see. We can't just throw a bunch of young receivers out there with Jerry Jeudy being the oldest guy at 27 is not the greatest. When I bring up Kyler Murray and Anthony Richardson, the Flyers, biggest issue with Anthony Richardson is his health. That's why I haven't seen him improvement. But no, I agree with this, Mike. I mean, I think you need a vet in that room. You need some stability in there. You need somebody who's proven in a winner, and is actually a good dude in the locker room too.
Yeah.
So I would braid Mike Evans if it's reasonable, works for both sides.
Yeah, if it's reasonable.
But yeah, so that's all we got for you guys tonight. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Shout out to Jeffrey. Shout out to Dan. Shout out to Big Bell 7866, and shout out to all you guys watching tonight. Shout out to new subscribers, Mike.
Yeah,
take to like, subscribe, and share, Mike. And then we got the TPF episodes coming soon too with the draft prep.
Yep, draft free agency. I'm already on it. I'm already working through my top prospects. There's a good amount of them. It's a good year.
Yeah, there is. Who do you like right now for the Browns at 6?
So far, I'm leading Mekhi Lemon. I think he fits the Todd Monken system perfectly. Incredible at yards after the catch. Plays big. I think
vibes with him.
Yeah, that's a fair comp. He's just a very, very, very productive wide receiver, and you can line him up in the slot too. And Monken's offenses love to line up their star receivers in the slot. So, right now for me at 6, it's Mekhi Lemon.
Yeah, I like that. I like him or Downs. I'd probably go Lemon though, just because we need a star receiver finally. My gosh, and I think he could definitely be that. So I agree with that. I like Mekhi Lemon. Yeah, Mike, need to like, subscribe, and share too.
Yeah, folks, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Please like, subscribe, and share this content if you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and thank you for everybody who commented in. And for those who will watch on the playback, please leave a comment below on the video. We love reading them, and we love hearing your takes. So let us know.
Absolutely. We will see you guys in the next one. I'm out of here. I'm saluting, Mike. What are you doing?
I am building a fort.
What kind of fort?
I'm building a fort out of toothpicks and Q-tips.
All righty. We'll see you guys next one. We're out of here. Go.
Later.